think it's broken. It's broken.
Someone in Hollywood imagined AI and robots could create a paradise for humans. The non-organics would do all the menial work. Meanwhile, humans would enjoy infinite vacations and they could invest their time into personal creative projects and well-being without a single worry. They would receive income from the government, and the income would come from all of the money robots were creating for free. By someone, I mean Jon Favreau, writer of The Mandalorian Season 3.
Citizens voted against any interruption in droid services. They can't live without it.
And why is that?
The citizens are no longer required to work. They can spend their days engaging in recreation, the arts, and participating in our direct democracy.
Jon Favreau is part of the Writers Guild of America, which is currently on strike. One of the reasons for their protest is the threat AI represents on their guild. 6 years ago and 5 years before ChatGPT premiered, Elon Musk talked about the threat of AI during 2017's World Government Summit.
There will be fewer and fewer jobs that a robot cannot do better. Okay. What to do about mass unemployment? This is going to be a massive social challenge. And I think ultimately we will have to have some kind of universal basic income.
Imagine something similar to Jon Favreau. Humans would receive free money, but not because the world becomes abundant and nice. It's because it would be the only way to keep people consuming the goods AI would produce. We should change would for can, because ChatGPT premiered in November 2022 and it's spreading fast across all types of industries. A recent study by Databricks revealed the usage of ChatGPT has grown by 1,310% between November 2022 and May 2023. OpenAI's competitors such as DBT, Dolly, and Google's Bard are growing in a similar fashion. AI is an undeniable reality, but it's far from being the only problem Hollywood is facing. Wise people take defeat as a lesson in order to grow. Hollywood, though, digs deeper into their mistakes every time their projects flop, because Hollywood is a failing industry refusing to change. And the most serious sign of its downfall is the widespread writers' strike. For now, let's go back to ChatGPT, as it's currently the most advanced AI. If you ask it whether or not it can write a script, it says, "Hello, of course I'd be happy to help you write a script. Could you please provide some details about the type of a script you need?" ChatGPT is an algorithm that delivers an interpretative language. It uses information from extensive training, plus information from the user to process the query. It can't generate anything new, and it does not have a genuine understanding of any given context. It can only find patterns and then create an answer by using information on its database. So trying to write a movie with ChatGPT or any other AI is pushing beyond its limits. It may even reply that it's not possible to write a script in a single session and encourage users to start by a basic outline. If you try to do it on a single query, it may give you about 10 minutes of content, rather than a full movie or episode. And while AIs do wonders when it comes to math, science, logic and coding, they are mediocre at best when it comes to writing. Even with the step-by-step directions, what they can do is very basic. Furthermore, AI needs so many instructions when it comes to creative work that the person in charge of giving directions will heavily influence the outcome. AI's creative limitations should mean it's not a threat to talented people. However, it's an additional competition to a sea of hacks, copywriters, and political activists posing as Hollywood elites. The industry standards currently are quite low, so who's to say AI is not currently writing some of the shows and movies we're seeing, because these languages can do it for free, and they can produce dozens of scripts per month with the supervision of a couple of people. After all, studios generally prefer brand recognition rather than good stories. Meanwhile, the humans, the writers, are asking too much while offering too little. Think about how much money you earn for a full-time job, and then consider the position of Hollywood writers. The Writers Guild of America represents 11,500 screenwriters. They went to strike on May 2 against the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers Guild. They are asking for two things. The first one is the regulation of AI. The second one is receiving more revenue from streaming shows. Before streaming, writers received a cut of the advertising revenue the shows gathered. However, streaming shows don't produce advertising revenue, and most of them don't produce any money either. Rather than residuals, current screenwriters receive a paycheck for whatever they write. According to the US Bureau of Labor Statistics, a median annual wage for scriptwriters in the USA is around $70,000. But this is because writers work part-time as freelancers. Let me explain.
The other 20 weeks when you're not working,
okay, we were paid at a decent enough rate. You hold on to your money, you wait for this next season, or if the show doesn't get picked up, you find another. You always had to find the gig, but the gig would pay you enough to make it plausible for you to afford a mortgage or for health insurance.
Every writer in Hollywood that belongs to the WGA, which is almost everyone, earns money per episode or movie they write. The minimum wage goes to writers with less than 3 years of experience. However, the wages can go as high as David Coeb, who earned $23 million in 2023 for writing Indiana Jones 5, amongst other things. So here's what I found. The minimum wage per episode for a Hollywood writer is $27,100 for a streaming drama, $22,800 for network drama, $26,355 for streaming comedy, $23,864 for network comedy. We are looking at $6,000 to $12,000 per fucking week for a lowly writer. And they will get the money even if the studio doesn't ultimately use the script, or if the show doesn't make any money. But writers don't have writing jobs all year long. They take about 4 to 6 months to write a streaming show, or up to 8 months to write 22 episodes of a network show. As for movies, they take up to 10 months to write a movie and earn an average of $100,000 per year. It's a math problem. The WGA is asking for more money because their freelancing jobs that take a fraction of the year are not covering for the expenses of the entire year. And living in LA or New York seems to be very expensive and apparently dirty. Hollywood writers want to earn more money during a time where Hollywood is producing flop after flop. Disney is facing the worst box office they've seen in 20 years, and USA shows and comics are being shadowed by Korean shows, anime, and manga. Writers should, however, have the rights to receive royalties, which streaming platforms have taken for themselves. For example, Hwan Dong-hyuk, the Squid Game's creator, settled for a $21 million deal to sell the rights of the IP to Netflix. Additionally, he got about $8 million for writing and directing the first season. It's not a small fee by any means, but he can't earn additional revenue, regardless of the show's success. It is also true that CEOs are earning more money than ever. Disney's ex-CEO Robert Iger sits at the top of the chart with $21 billion in earnings. Warner's David Zaslav, $16.7 billion. MGM's Jim Giannopoulos earns $15.7 yearly, and Tom Stacks from Netflix earns $13.9 billion.
How they plead poverty, that they're losing money left and right when giving hundreds of millions of dollars to their CEOs.
These wonderful CEOs keep investing millions of dollars on shows no one cares about. More importantly, the money these shows cost don't translate into production values or quality.
This needs to stop. Now.
The most recent example is Secret Invasion. Disney spent about $200 million for the show, on par with the cost of previous MCU series. And where is the money? It's not on Emilia's acting prowess. And do you know what? Squid Game costed about $20 million. AIs, as you see, are neither Hollywood's savior nor a writer's main threat.
I just mean that it's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White that is
Not going to be saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about
true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be.
It has been people, not AI, the ones causing Hollywood's downfall. Someone turned Star Wars into the ground.
Exactly.
Someone wasted $750 million Amazon dollars into a Lord of the Rings show everyone hated.
You have not seen what I have seen.
Someone wrote HBO's Velma, and then another someone from a different studio created She-Hulk with the same exact antagonizing messages.
Also, that he was just another entitled rich guy who might kill someone because he has a tiny dong.
He once described himself as a New York 10 and an LA 11.
A conga line of writers created several Warner DC shows, and all of them combined made $0 for the studio. Actors, writers, producers, directors, and whole studios have spent years alienating audiences by being aggressive and controversial towards fans, comics, literature, history, and our overall culture.
I don't hate white dudes.
I take responsibility.
Call out hate. Man, what the fuck is you talking about?
What the fuck was that?
I'm sorry.
The current hot topic is feminism, anti-capitalism, gender ideology, and other left-leaning ideas. Some of these are quite dangerous and weird.
My, not at all secret gay agenda.
Hollywood goes as far as antagonizing entire countries by changing foreign history to fit modern LA values. The data analytic the industry uses considers any kind of fan attention as positive for the studio or company revenue, so Hollywood thinks that people hating their shows means money. On a similar note, Hollywood directors, mostly wealthy people from LA and New York, are short-sighted and ignorant. The problems they showcase on their content, the messages they push, are always about how difficult it is to be a non-white man in a first world country. Lastly, actors are not as relevant as they used to be. People care only about the characters they play, maybe because we got to know them through social media.
I just watched the finale of She-Hulk, Attorney at Law, and I've got to say, I think that show is the best thing Marvel have done since Endgame.
But Hollywood is unable to see its mistakes. This industry has been riding high on the waves of their abundance, smoking their own egos far too long. The Little Mermaid, Elemental, Snow White, The Flash, Indiana Jones 5, Netflix Resident Evil, Cleopatra and The Witcher, Thor, Love and Thunder, Star Trek Picard, The Marvels. Did I go on? Humans, not AI, have created hundreds of easy-to-see mistakes. Add this example to the list. The Mrs. Marvel comic book has been cancelled 3 times and rebooted 4 times, and is currently on hiatus since its 2019 cancellation. Marvel also killed the character in July 2023 in a Spider-Man comic.
Oh no! Anyway.
The reason for its failure is simple: it doesn't sell enough copies to sustain its production. Even so, Disney created a Ms. Marvel show. 4.9 million people saw its premiere. The number dwindled until the end. It became the lowest watched Marvel show on Disney. The next move was putting Mrs. Marvel as the protagonist of the upcoming The Marvels, starring everyone's least favorite hero, Brie Larson.
I don't know, does anyone want me to do it again?
And Monica. Disney has a string of flops in the action genre because the writers keep doing the same. That is putting flawless women at the front and bumbling men at the back. The women at the front perform dubious action stunts and moral choices. The men at the back are at the front of the promotional materials. And before the movie premieres and evaluates the success of Mrs. Marvel as a character in 2023, they relaunched the Mrs. Marvel comic and revived the character. Iman Vellani, the 20-year-old Mrs. Marvel actress who has never written a comic, is writing it. So add this to the list. Modern studios push what they want rather than what people want, and put people with no experience, talent or respect for the original material at the front of these force-fed projects. Disney even instructed Secret Invasion's director to not read the comics, even though they were massively successful. And after the show finished and received a Rotten Tomatoes score, he said rabid fans should lower their expectations about Disney's quality. I don't feel bad about mixed reviews, he said. Is it our job to fulfill their expectations? Yes it is. We are the customers. We buy and consume the content you produce so you can live the lavish lives you live. Can you imagine any other industry in the world where the people in charge say, we don't care if clients buy our products or not? The answer is no, and yet Hollywood producers, directors and writers have shown a similar attitude multiple times. After The Witcher Season 3 debuted, one of its main producers, Tomek Baginski, said they purposely made the show less complex and nuanced so the American audience could consume it. Sure, add this to the list. Hollywood people don't know how to take responsibility for their failures. They want to live in an echo chamber, a yes universe, abundant in money and praise. Another example, the Blue Beetle movie is featuring a lesser-known hero in a movie universe at the brink of bankruptcy. Even so, the director and the writers thought it was a good idea to mock DC's most popular hero on the movie's trailer.
That man's a fascist!
After the obvious fan backlash, the director Soto responded with a tweet that said, I angered the right people. The tweet is no longer available. Last example, Barbie. Billionaire David Zaslav approved the many anti-capitalist statements of the movie. However, its intention is to sell toys and merchandise that are, most probably, made with slave and child labor in third world countries. Mattel, Barbie's creator, has had multiple complaints about their sweatshops in China, where people work up to 20 hours per day for 20 cents the hour. How much money do writers make, again? So add this to the list. Hollywood studios are greedy, hypocrite vermin. If they hate capitalism so much, maybe they could give writers and actors an universal basic income to cover for all of the money they are losing in their lousy movies and shows. Write good shit, have some fucking decency, and then ask for a better cut. You tell me what you think, friends. For now, subscribe and hit the like button if you like it. I'll be back soon with another video. In the meantime, I'll see you in the comments. Keep the section
civilized.